UK Prime Minister Liz Truss has apologised for what she called the mistakes made in her time in office so far. The UK PM was referring to a mini-budget which caused chaos in the UK financial markets, forcing the Bank of England to step in a bid to bring a sense of stability back. But Truss says she still intends to lead the Conservatives into the next general election.
What I'm focused on is delivering for the British public. Now, I recognise we have made mistakes. I'm sorry for those mistakes, but I've fixed the mistakes. I've appointed a new Chancellor. We have restored economic stability and fiscal discipline. And what I now want to do is go on and deliver for the public. We were elected on the 2019 manifesto. I'm determined to deliver on that. Levelling up, securing investment into all parts of our country, getting roads built, getting opportunities right across the nation. And that's what I'm thinking about and that's what I'm focused on.
Last week, Truss sacked her Chancellor Kwasi Kwarteng after only 38 days in office. On Monday, the new UK Chancellor Jeremy Hunt announced that he would reverse nearly all tax cuts announced by his predecessor. He even warned that more difficult decisions will have to be taken in time to come.
I'm sorry.
We are a country that funds our promises and pays our debts. And when that is questioned, as it has been, this government will take the difficult decisions necessary to ensure there is trust and confidence in our national finances. We are going to have very difficult decisions both on tax and spending in the next couple of weeks.
When asked by the opposition to explain her latest humiliating climb down, Truss has maintained silence, raising further speculation about her future. On Monday, she, instead of appearing in Parliament to answer an urgent question herself, sent out Minister Penny Mordaunt instead.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. To ask the Prime Minister to make a statement on the replacement of the Chancellor of the Exchequer during the current economic situation.
Mr. Speaker, with apologies to the Leader of the Opposition and the House, the PM is detained on urgent business. And they will have to make do.
I must hear the answer of why the Prime Minister is not here. Leader of the House.
I'm afraid you will have to make do with me, Mr. Speaker.
Labour leader Sir Keir Starmer accused Truss of leaving an utter vacuum in government, saying she was clinging to power, while one of his MPs also teased that she had been cowering under a desk.
And all we know right now is, unless she tells us otherwise, that the Prime Minister is cowering under her desk and asking for it all to go away.
Well, the Prime Minister is not under a desk.
Well, it's a turbulent political situation within the Conservative Party right now. There are only a few people openly defending Liz Truss within her party, and there's also been many rumours reported about potential plots to oust her from number 10. Truss is already facing claims that she's lost all authority. 4 Tory MPs have already publicly called for her to leave. Dozens of others are also said to be ready to put through a vote of no confidence. Well, for more on this, we can speak to Adam Schwartz now. He's a writer and political commentator joining us live from London. Adam, it's been a difficult weeks for Liz Truss, but she says that those mistakes, as she called them, that have been made since she took office have now been rectified. How's that going to go down?
Well, I think certainly just a sort of mild apology like that certainly will not go far enough into restoring really what she will find very difficult to do, which will be rescuing her premiership. And I think she really faces a triple issue that looks set to bring about a very premature end to her premiership. And firstly, that is a loss of credibility, no authority, and no democratic legitimacy. What we saw yesterday with the U-turn on tax cuts was really the biggest economic U-turn that we've seen in British political history. And if you look at the party's reaction to it, certainly, they don't consider that to be enough in terms of restoring her confidence. But I think also it's so important just to recognise that actually what she U-turned on was not simply just some sort of minor campaign promises that were made in an ambiguous way a long time ago. These were her signature policies that were made simply weeks ago as part of her election campaign. And so when you have that removed, really the kind of only thing that you're left with is kind of the person's character traits rather than any kind of ideology. And so that actually means that actually those qualities are brought much more into focus than they previously would be. And certainly based on Truss's performance over the last couple of weeks, I think no one could possibly say that actually Truss contained the kind of qualities that you really needed to be Prime Minister. So I think she's facing multiple different issues, which I think are going to be very, very difficult to row back on. But of course, her party is in a very difficult place where actually it has to either remain with a very, very unpopular leader who looks, based on opinion polls, will bring the Conservatives into the lowest number of seats that they've had in several decades, or change a leader for the second time mid-term, which of course would lead to calls for some kind of general election. So they're really damned if they do, damned if they don't. So I think Truss is in a very difficult situation, but I think certainly the fact that she's brought in Jeremy Hunt to sort of shield behind his credibility has bought herself a little bit of time. But really, most people are kind of counting the amount of time that she has to turn this around in days or weeks, and certainly not in months.
Liz Truss is saying in interviews that she does intend to take the Conservatives through to the next general election, whenever that may be. But of course, we've also heard those reports that MPs within the Conservative Party have been talking about a no confidence vote. But just talk to us about the procedure of that. Of course, the 1922 committee is that group of backbench Tory MPs. They are the ones that can effectively decide to remove a Prime Minister from office. But it's not that simple when somebody has only just been given that role, is it? Has she got a year, or do you think they might shift some of the rules to try to make that a bit faster?
Well, that's absolutely right. I mean, formally, she has a year to be safe from a no confidence vote, which, of course, we saw Boris Johnson facing towards the end of his premiership. However, I think, ideally, and this is really historically the way that the Conservative MPs have removed leaders, they would actually try to force a resignation rather than try to force her out through some kind of procedure. But I think really, the route to doing that will be quite similar to what you would see as part of a formal confidence vote. You'll see letters go to Graham Brady, the chairman of the 1922 committee, who, if there are enough, MPs who submit those no confidence votes, well, it would ultimately lead to some kind of group of senior MPs going to see the Prime Minister and urging them to resign. And so I think really, there's at the moment no sort of set agreement on when that would take place or exactly how that would take place. But I think that's largely a result of the fact that there's kind of no obvious successor candidate at the moment. So I think certainly she's safe from a kind of procedural point of view from any kind of no confidence vote, but certainly all the noises that we're hearing from Conservative MPs seem to be suggesting that they are looking to mechanisms of how to remove her.
And of course, there's the other complication as well, isn't there, that if MPs remove her, then that's going away from the vote that actually came from Conservative Party members, those people that elected her to that position in the first place. Adam Schwartz, writer and political commentator, thank you so much for your time.
Good to be with you.